2021 is probably not the best year to be opening a bar. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty around for a while to come. Why not wait? Why is the time now for you guys?
Look, I think we signed the lease to this place knowing full well that there was risk involved. No one can travel, so everyone's got this, money that they want to put to affordable luxuries. Oysters and cocktails, they're pretty affordable luxuries.
We've been involved in bars and things like that, especially kind of more cocktail kind of focused things for, probably 13, 14 years.
And so what's that like now coming to the point where you're going to be opening a venue of your own?
Surreal.
Yeah, exciting, fucking scary.
There's definitely a lot of, I guess, pressure on ourselves to make sure that this is, an absolute banger. So, we're definitely putting a lot into it.
So Pearl Diver Cocktails and Oysters, what we wanted to bring was just this really fun, exciting, energetic kind of delivery of cocktails and oysters. Alex and I obviously have been working with cocktails for a long time. I think that's an area where we kind of found an avenue for our creativity. So that's definitely something that we really wanted to kind of highlight. I think the way that we think about drinks and things like that is always about highlighting the fun and the enjoyment of it. And so we wanted to kind of extrapolate that out to our whole concept. And so we wanted to kind of deliver drinks that were really well executed, really fun, really vibrant, to pair kind of, I guess, with oysters, something that has been kind of for a long time thought of as this kind of really, elevated, luxurious kind of thing. We wanted to kind of break that down and deliver that in the same fashion, so fun and vibrant and energetic.
We just want to have a good time.
Yeah.
Oysters haven't always been a fancy food, right?
No,
not until, I guess, relatively recently. There was a time going back through history where, oysters were super cheap, oyster bars were everywhere. And that kind of, I guess, led into the fish and chip shop, which we know and love now. So
that's it. It's almost in like Melbourne's DNA, these little oyster bars that were around, in the turn of the 1800s, 19th century, where everything was coming out of Port Phillip Bay. Oysters were like for the working man, for the blue collar guy, and they were super cheap. It was just oyster and stout for breakfast.
How do you know when you're onto a good concept and the one that's going to last? Because I'm assuming you want this bar to stick around for a while.
Yeah, I hope so. We signed a 10-year lease, so.
so 10 years plus, if we can.
I think part of the idea that we've always thought about, and when we went through the process of honing in on the ideas for this specific one, which was going through the Speakeasy Pathway to Partnership program, we developed maybe 12 different ideas. We broke that down into 6 different ideas, and then we broke that down into, so we've got a bunch of ideas that are kind of sitting in the wings. Because this program was almost like a competition, we did have to think about things in terms of longevity, in terms of scaling, in terms of developing a concept which we think won't only just last the test of time, but can potentially grow as well. Like, we have this idealistic dream of having a Pearl Diver in Noosa.
And also doing something that we're just very excited about. I think, the test of a really good concept is when you're like 100% down with everything it's about, right? Every time we spoke about it, we'd get like really excited about what we're talking about. Like, we'd just brainstorm for hours on end. And, to me, that was what was in my mind when I knew it was going to, hopefully be a really successful idea.
By the time we open, I think it'll be the longest lockdown of like 260 days or something like that. So it's kind of this really interesting thing where even through all of the lockdowns, we were pretty much working every day on this concept, because we would literally sit there for weeks on end being like, have you thought about the coasters? What happens when
let's
someone...
spend 4 hours thinking about coasters.
Let's think about coasters for 4 hours. What happens? And so we kind of, in our mind, this venue lives already. So we wrote a whole bunch of guest experiences, essentially. So we kind of broke it down from a perspective of going, if I'm a guest, what do I want out of this venue? And so from that guest experience draft that we did, we kind of created the venue and crafted the venue and the concept and the delivery and the service all from that. And we had all of this time to hone in on all these little details. Obviously, once we found the space and things, they kind of, we have to adapt what we created in that vision.
We pretty much created a thesis.
Yeah, it was an 82-page document.
Jeez.
Of literally like, what's the cutlery going to look like? What glassware are we looking at? What, you know, what does the host say when they walk in? Like, it's like, and
so
we
kind
of
of quite exhaustive, like, preparation for this.
We became fixated on the detail. Like I was like Rain Man and shit. Like we've got anything you can think of, we got a fucking spreadsheet for it, mate. Like
the way I guess we've always seen it, you know, especially our ethos for Pearl Diver is, you know, is it fun? Does it taste delicious? Does it look pretty? Put it on the list. doesn't matter about the technique. Doesn't matter about, you know, all the crazy stuff that we can do to it. If it makes the drink a better drink, we'll do it. You know, if it doesn't, if it's just there for show, like, why bother?
What's your creative process on these kind of signature drinks? How do you guys work together on this?
Pez is probably the most brutally honest person I've ever met in my life. If I come to him with a drink, like there's, you know, he takes the gloves off and he'll let me know what he actually thinks, like, which is good because it's the only way like you end up with drinks that are perfect in our eyes, right? Is if you have that honesty to one another, which is very, very important for our list.
That's kind of the way that Alex and I have always looked at drink creation is like, if something's needless on the plate or in the drink, get the fuck rid of it. And I think it's something that we always do now, is that we kind of go, okay, cool. You know, I might have this idea that has this, and this in it. Let's break it down and go, okay, that's the base of this drink. And does that mean using pineapple in 3 different ways? And Naren Young's amazing at that, is kind of compounding those flavor ingredients. You know, you might have a drink that has 3 or 4 ingredients, but it's got like 4 different types of pineapple, or like 3 different types of grapefruit.
Back to working with the Speakeasy Group, we're very lucky in terms of some of the contacts we've made. So we've had a design firm called Studio Y that's helped us out with the design of Pearl Diver, that did Nick and Nora's Boilermaker House, a bunch of other projects in Melbourne.
I think the
Attic and Black Pearl, and they've been amazing. And they put us on to a paint company called Scanlon and Maker. And once they heard our brief, like they got really excited. And Claire, the owner, just went like, I just went and bought some oysters, and I looked inside the shell, and I got the color scheme from inside an oyster shell.
How accessible are using people like these interior designers? Is it super expensive, or is it maybe not as expensive as they might think? I would think it's kind of not cheap.
Everything's not cheap. No, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. We were really lucky in terms of kind of both Studio Y, our builders, and our painters, kind of, because of working previously on Speakeasy groups, had a really good connection with the Speakeasy group and actually cleared time in their schedules and made special time for it. All of these people are accessible to people. Like, you can Google designers and look at their portfolios and decide ones that you want. If you can work with the professionals, do it, because the way that they decoded our vision and elevated it has been amazing. My advice would just be to shop around, because, as I said, the quotes between different things can be massive.
Thanks for watching. This series is presented by Decaipa and is about not just surviving but thriving through COVID. Decaipa believe in the power of a cocktail, and like us at Boothby, Decaipa believes that bartenders are the lifeblood of the industry. Now, Decaipa doesn't directly affect our editorial, but it's their support that makes videos like this one possible.